Don't you want it? 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 You lose your little mind. I'm dead.
Deadlights Pod. Deadlights Pod. Welcome to the Deadlights Podcast. I'm your host, Sam.
And I'm your other host, Leslie, and we're bringing you another week of horror.
Welcome to the Deadlights Podcast, where we talk about horror.
Yeah.
I don't know, just trying out new intros.
No, I love that.
Yeah, I feel like try out a new one. Maybe one will stick. Let us know if you like that one. Sorry for our listeners. I just made an M with my mouth and with my hands.
Whoa.
Yeah, for the movie that we watched today.
What did we watch?
We watched M from 1931, directed by Fritz Lang, written by Fritz Lang and Thea van Harbou. When the police in a German city are unable to catch a child murderer, other criminals join in the manhunt. There's some lines that even criminals won't cross. And in this movie, I think someone crossed that line.
Oh, they crossed it. He
Yeah.
was so creepy.
Super creepy. I mean, we're talking about a child murderer. So we're talking about some pretty dark stuff.
Very.
And we are talking about a black and white movie, so the film is also dark. But when we pulled this movie out of the bucket, actually, I didn't really know that much about it. After watching it and after doing a little more research into this film, this is actually an incredibly infamous film, not only within horror, but also within like film history. Like it's on 1,001 movies you have to see before you die. Some of like the top 25 greatest movies of all time, most influential movies of all time.
Do you feel, looking back now, Fritz, that some of those films from your German period present a bleak view of the universe?
If you look at a lot of film today, don't they do the same thing?
That has a lot to do with the subject matter and also the time and place at which this movie was made. So I think it's going to be an interesting conversation that we're going to have not only about the film, but also about what's going on in the world at this time. And unfortunately, it feels kind of relevant to right now.
I mean, yeah, I think from that point on, we were realizing that people were this evil, that there could be serial killers and stranger danger. Like, we cannot just allow a person out on the street to like be safe with our kids.
It's very neighbor versus neighbor. Who can you trust? Trust was a big question and theme throughout this movie. And unfortunately, it's a question that we're still asking today. Who can we trust? Who can we trust with the safety of ourselves and our children? Who's going to protect the next generation that's coming up? And I don't know. There's a lot to this movie. I feel like we should just jump into it because there's a lot I want to say. Let's open up the can of M. So like I said, it's directed by Fritz Lang. And something that I learned looking into this movie, this is his first talkie. So a movie with sound. And I would say that the sound is one of the strongest parts of this film.
Du hast aber einen schönen Ball.
This is at a time when sound is new to people. So they're discovering how to use sound as another layer of storytelling. And I think that was the big difference for me in this movie, where we're not just using sound to like add street noise or whatever. We're trying to tell an emotional journey through the sound and trying to overwhelm the viewer with sound effects and give clues through sounds. Like whenever the killer was on, we heard a certain whistle. So that is something that films had never done before. That's something that we do all the time now, but literally making rules for sound effects. And I mean, the first scene, it's from the mother's perspective, watching the clock that she knows it's time for school to let out and she's expecting her kid home soon. No talking, just sound and picture. Paired extremely well to tell the story. And so I was impressed by so many sequences in this film that were telling us, showing us through sound effects, through the cinematography, in ways that people literally had never done before.
Elsie! Elsie! Elsie!
So
I tip my hat to the filmmakers for kind of just like breaking new ground.
And in the 30s still, we're getting like a lot of theatrical kind of drama from the actors. And for the most part, it wasn't of that quality. We see the whole community up in arms trying to figure out who the predator is.
Dass ich dir auch schon mal gesehen habe, wie du hinter der Kleinen aus dem 4. Stock der Treppe aufgegangen bist. Du bist mal verrückt, du Schweinskerl!
And you see how insane, to what lengths every aspect of like the police force, the government itself, the community, like they were all doing their own thing to try and catch whoever.
We're getting all these different groups trying to figure out how we're going to get this guy. Another thing that you don't see in a lot of these old films that they're playing with is like cross-cutting scenes. We have the government meeting going on at the same time that the criminal meeting is going on.
Ich bitte, sich dazu zu äußern, meine Herren.
It's very much trying to show us it's the same. Everyone has the same goal.
It was very modern.
It felt very modern.
Yeah.
You don't see that even in later films after 1931 doing that. So again, we're playing with form. We're playing with, now that we have this whole new layer to put in here, how can we use that? How can we change things up? And I personally think they did a great job, and the cinematography was beautiful. Some of the shadow work that they did and reflections in mirrors. And one shot that just sticks out of my mind is the entire crowd of this town all crowded around this one bulletin about the latest murder.
Aus bestimmten Anzeichen geht hervor, dass auch dieser neue Mord von demselben gespenstischen Unhold begangen wurde. Again,
it's visual storytelling. It's simple, but it conveys so much, and it adds to the paranoia that we have going on in this town. The last thing that I wanted to say about Fritz Lang is apparently he was a very, very mean director.
And I do remember the way he talked to the people on the set. I mean, nobody in America would dare talk to actors the way he did. I mean, he was an autocratic director in the true German sense.
That I made my films with a kind of a sleepwalking security. I did things which I thought were right. Period.
So Fritz Lang, cool dude? I don't think so.
No.
Pretty movie? Yeah.
You made a great movie.
Yeah.
But when you don't treat your actors right, like, you're not a dictator, dude. You know?
Cool it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is also a German film.
He's about some, like that German authoritarianism about him.
It's all about me.
Well, I also like, there's a lot of kids in this movie, so I hope he wasn't yelling at those kids.
Oh. Well, I think he was.
Speaking of kids, maybe we should get to the meat.
Dead meat.
The dead meat.
Not me.
The dead kid meat.
We don't need no education.
Boom, boom, boom.
Get it? Because, like, they were thrown into the meat grinder.
Oh, yeah. Definitely meat grinded.
Yeah.
We didn't see exactly what he did, but it didn't sound good.
Die Kinder verschwinden spurlos. Und wenn man sie wiederfindet, na, wir wissen ja, wie wir sie gefunden haben.
And also, there was some connotation, too, that it was sexual.
Yeah. Ooh, icky, icky, icky. We are dealing with a predator in our community. And what is the response of the community when one of their neighbors turns out to be a danger? What is the response, and what are different people's reactions? And this film does a great job of showcasing how an entire community will either be torn apart or brought together to fight an evil force. We saw the mass hysteria of the police going door to door, business to business, raiding shit, pulling things out, just because, they had no information about who it could be. So they were doing it to everybody.
Well, yeah, they were desperate. Desperate because they did not want another child to be harmed, and they couldn't live with themselves because, like, he was still out there. And so the cops were not sleeping. They were pulling long hours.
Herr Minister, meine Leute haben in der Woche keine 12 Stunden Schlaf mehr. Die Mannschaften vom Überfallkommando kommen nie mehr richtig zur Ruhe. Die Beamten der Mordkommission kommen nicht mehr aus den Kleidern heraus, leben beständig auf dem Qui-vive, ständig in der Hochspannung der Alarmbereitschaft.
And they had no leads. And so they were getting to those desperate points of just anybody. And then anyone who's walking on the street with a kid could be the killer. So it's really neighbor versus neighbor.
I wanted to have a personal film, a film that deals with one human being, with one social evil. And so I made them.
But then it kind of does do this interesting switch where in this mass hysteria that's going on, you have people coming together to figure this out.
Ein Außenseiter verdirbt uns das Geschäft und den Kredit. Die Maßnahmen der Polizei, die täglichen planmäßigen Razzien zur Ergreifung des Kindermörders hindern unsere Tätigkeit in einem kaum mehr ertragbaren Maße. Wir müssen ihn fahren. Wir selber.
And it doesn't matter if it's criminal or if it's the government or if it's the League of Beggars or whatever they call themselves.
Oh, yeah, that's
like
true.
Even the beggars came out
Yeah.
and banded together to find this killer.
And it really did take the whole community. Everybody was there at the end.
Yeah. The blind guy, even the blind guy was a huge part.
He just heard his voice and he was like, yep,
That's him.
that's him.
Das habe ich doch schon mal gehört.
Und der Mann hat ein kleines Mädchen bei sich gehabt und der Mann hat genauso gepfiffen, wie der da dreht.
Poor guy. Like, I was wondering about the blind guy because he had a sign around his neck that said blind. But also, I mean, first of all, yeah, what the hell? But also it was in English.
Oh, yeah.
So why was it in English?
Yeah, they're German.
This is a German film.
Well, it would have been too long of a sign.
Flavor Flav. Yeah. I felt bad for Blind Man, but he was a hero. He was a hero. Maybe they'll flip the sign around that says hero on in English.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
My
I made the
gosh.
connection later. I was like, wait, why can't I read that sign? What? Anyway, and then, okay, so then they all come together and they catch the guy.
Mm-hmm.
They do find out who the killer is. But then it comes down to a question of like, what is justice and who should serve the justice?
Yeah.
Because we were about ready to pull that guy apart.
Gegen Keller wie dich gibt's nur ein Recht. Totschlagen! Totschlagen, jawohl! Totschlagen wie kein Hund! Halt machen den Hund!
And maybe he deserved it, you know? But those are the questions that we're kind of left with. How far are you willing to go to protect the children, quote unquote?
And also, what is justice when you have harmed to this degree?
Mm-hmm.
Not just a person, but like a child, an innocent person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how can you just lock them up? Because they went through all of those scenarios.
Damit du dich auf den Paragraph 51 berufst und dein Leben lang auf Staatskosten verpflegt wirst. Bist ja wegen Unzurechnungsfähigkeit gesetzlich geschützt. Gehst wieder fröhlich auf die kleinen Kinder los. Nee, davon wollen wir nicht mehr wissen.
So the only thing that we have to offer is death. And everybody was like, yeah. Especially like the moms that have lost their children.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's like, okay, my child is dead. No justice is going to bring them back. But also, how does that separate us
Yes.
from the killer? We're still killing.
That's always the question. It's where does the cycle end? You know? And that's typically the hardest choice to make, is stopping the cycle, because it is easier to just kill and then kill and then
Are vigilantes actual heroes?
Does every hero wear a cape? Sometimes a hero is a blind guy.
They wear a sign.
And
Favorite Flav.
They're labeled so you can see them. But yeah, and we have the last line of like, keep your children safe.
Man muss ihm noch besser auf die Kinder Acht geben.
And
It was so bleak. It ended so bleak.
So dark.
It didn't even linger. It was just like, and keep your kids safe.
I was like, that can't be. Oh, that's it.
God, I was
Credits.
just like, yeah, I was just like sitting down and I was just like, why do I always eat when I watch these movies?
Wrong.
My stomach hurts.
Yeah, really it doesn't answer that question really of like, what would be the right choice? We're kind of left as the audience to, in our minds, give our sentence to this guy. Would we kill this guy? Would we let the cops come and take him away? And yeah, those kind of questions are not easy to consider of yourself, but that's exactly what they wanted us to do. Mm-hmm. And they did that very successfully.
Of just making it your responsibility to take care of your child. And also with that, just in society, just like take care of the children.
This movie is almost 100 years old. But like I said, it still feels very relevant. We're still asking ourselves these questions, even with the advancements of somewhat of understanding mental disease and all that kind of stuff. We are still asking ourselves these ethical questions. Where is the line of who gets to decide whose fate as far as death? And who deserves that? So,
because he clearly had some mental issues.
For sure.
And as we've seen and learned so far, is that this is a cyclical thing. Like, this is something that had happened to this person, and it's a learned trait. Not all the time, but then, like, okay, so then can we provide help for all these people? Because some of them, like he said, it's never going to stop.
Hab ich denn nicht dieses Verfluchte in mir? Das Feuer, die Stimme, die Qual. Aber ich kann doch nichts dafür!
So, yeah, it's just so complicated and heavy.
Mm-hmm. Still. Again, what a like groundbreaking concept for the 30s. Them writing this of like this man like couldn't help himself. Because like you said, at this time, people were just still thinking that anyone who would kill a kid is absolutely evil, like not redeemable at all. They enjoy it. All this kind of stuff. They're a monster. But this guy was clearly struggling with not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't want to do it, it didn't seem like. And when he did do it, it almost was like
It was a takeover.
Immer muss ich durch Straßen gehen und immer spüre ich, ist einer hinter mir her. Das bin ich selber und verfolgt mich.
They built sympathy for him. They gave us a reason to be like, oh shit, like, poor guy. Which, again, like, this is not common for the 30s movies to be doing that. Mm-hmm. So to leave us with all these questions, again, I'm tipping my hat to this film because it's still effective. It's
themes that even today in the United States, we don't tap into all that much.
Yeah.
And I can't remember exactly when the United States started coining serial killer, but it was a while.
Mm-hmm. I think the 70s or 80s.
Yeah, it was like a really long time. Yeah. And we've had a series of serial killers, mm-hmm. but like they couldn't fathom how one person could be out there killing multiple people. So they would try to find one person for each case. And it's like, until they're like, oh no, all of these are linked together. That's when they were just like, oh, God, like these people are sick.
Yeah, the world's a lot more fucked up than
mm-hmm.
you thought.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And now, because of all these serial killers, I think it's not like a quick thing to draw, but it is now easier to be like, no, these cases are linked. Mm-hmm. Sadly. Yeah. But they didn't struggle with that. They were like, no, you killed all these 7 girls.
True.
So to me, that was very fascinating because like we said, it is the 30s. And they weren't looking for several people. They were looking for one individual.
Yeah, you were way ahead of us.
Yeah, damn.
Way ahead.
Damn.
Good for you. It also makes sense. It makes sense. Well, let's get to the cook. Mm-hmm. Let's see how they cook this up. I kind of already touched on it in the can, but we're talking about like they're playing with different filming techniques and sound effects is a big thing. One scene that I thought back to was when they're moving through like the beggars committee house.
Oh yeah.
Hosse in Blutwurst.
Mensch, schnarch nicht so, du wächst leise.
So they're really like building this environment. We're moving through this environment with the sounds. This is like mixing and mastering sound effects that like people nowadays do all the time, but then they didn't know what they were doing.
No.
But they were still doing it, which is cool.
You see the voice-over technique that's being introduced here, bringing in things that are not actually connected, physically connected with the place where the voice originates. But they're pertinent to the action, explanatory. That was a technique that had to be developed first. He was one of the first to do it.
Lots of films during these times felt like a theater set. And this really didn't. It like actually looked like a house, mm-hmm. like a business. I really appreciated that it wasn't so theatrical.
And that does go back.
So amazed.
It goes back to that, what you already mentioned, of also the acting style. Like it felt more natural than I've seen movies that we've even watched in the 50s and 60s feels.
Well, I think at this point Germany was studying realism. I want to say, I'm not too 100% 200%.
200%.
I'm 100%, not 200.
Whoa.
No, but like I think they were studying Stanislavski. I think I always butcher his name, but it's more like heading towards realism.
Zum Teufel nochmal, was haben wir denn bis jetzt von der Mitarbeit des Publikums gehabt? Berge von Briefen mit den irrsinnigsten Verleumdungen.
Sehr richtig.
Aber wenn man wirklich mal von den Leuten eine vernünftige Auskunft haben will, dann haben sie plötzlich von nichts eine Ahnung. Dann können sie sich durchaus auf nichts mehr besinnen. Mitarbeit des Publikums. Wo siehst du aus?
We're getting away from the big drama when we're actually feeling things.
It felt like it. It felt like people were really like grounded in their characters.
Because the serial killer,
wow,
he amazed me.
Yeah.
Like I was very impressed because he had to go back and forth between that really dark side and there's like a lot of just like lowering of the head and somehow was able to draw darkness.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to find an actor where nobody would believe that this could be a murderer. No?
Yes.
And I found Peter Lorre.
I was very impressed.
One of the creepiest moments I thought was when he's staring in the window display and he's seeing the reflection of the kid. You can see his emotional journey of like, he is kind of going into a euphoric like moment, thinking about what he would do to that kid and then fighting back on it, you know, like you see that whole journey that he goes through.
And then it just like takes over.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's scary, but whoa, like so well done. And in the end, I felt for him. So to get a character, a villain like that, to like bring sympathy to that character, that takes a lot of layers.
Mm-hmm.
So wow, yeah, honestly, good on him.
Yeah, I was very
it.
impressed.
He killed it.
Der oben erwähnte Rautenzug oder Schwellzug, Klammer, am deutlichsten in dem Worte bald, dritte Zeile von unten, registriert die pathologisch starke Sexualität dieses Triebs.
They just had one letter that he sent to the press.
Yeah.
So like this person was a pathological psychotic person.
Yeah.
Like he was doing this for fun.
And that
And a need?
became a little bit confusing, I think, with how the movie ended.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me not really like the letter aspect of it. That kind of makes it feel a little
Like
out of place.
Yeah, like a Zodiac kind of killer.
Yeah, like, because in the end, he was like, it's a compulsion, it's a need, he can't control himself. Well, then why would you write a fucking letter, man?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? Seems like you want credit for it,
Mm-hmm.
you know? I guess like that was also a huge part of just the driving part of this movie, which was, as the audience, we didn't know who the killer was the whole time until like it got really confirmed near the end. So I think that how they were playing with that of like, we didn't even know. We saw the opening shot of just his shadow.
And it was the whistling. It was whistling for us, you know? We didn't see his face at all, but we heard the whistle in the beginning. And then when he looked at that girl through the window display, he started whistling. And we're like, oh, shit. You know?
Every time we heard that whistle, we knew it was a bad
omen.
Bad thing. And again, that was one of the first times that any movie had ever done that, where you're using sounds to signal something. I think they call it a leafed motif, where every time we heard that whistle, we knew danger was afoot. And we see that all the time in horror. Like that is Jaws. Like literally, like any horror movie, there's a sequence where you hear the ding and you just know. Like this was one of the first movies to do it. So it's cool to see it start here.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, Shut the door, lock the door. Just stay inside.
Stay inside. Don't go to sleep. Don't go to sleep.
Don't go to sleep, damn it.
Yeah, I think they cooked this movie great, quite
Yeah.
honestly. And also, like, bringing this movie into reality of, like, this is 1931 in Germany. The Nazis took over in 1933, and this movie very much felt foreboding for what's to come in Germany, where we do have neighbor against neighbor. And we have people prosecuting each other and pointing the finger at each other, scapegoats everywhere. It feels so grounded in what's about to happen in Europe. And even down to the M, like him being marked in society, like that as like the Jewish star marking people, like that even to me, I was like eerie. It definitely left me with an eerie feeling of what's to come. And also this movie, I learned after the Nazis took power, they banned this movie from Germany.
Of course.
For about 30 years. It wasn't unbanned until the 60s. So yeah, for a long, long time, this movie was not shown in Germany.
Wow. And
it kind of makes sense.
It makes sense.
Kind of makes sense. Yeah. Well, should we get to the thrill?
Let's thrill it up.
Let's thrill it up. I mean, we kind of talked about him, but our serial killer, our child murderer, for most of the movie, who is faceless and is causing this mass hysteria.
I hate to show violence. I did it myself in 1 or 2 pictures because I think that the audience became a collaborator of mine. But by not showing it, the whole audience, everyone in the audience could think about the most horrible thing which he could imagine. And therefore, the whole audience became a collaborator of mine.
For me, I'm like, how many people are going to die just trying to catch this guy?
Yeah.
Like, how many innocent men are going to go to jail?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like, how much hysteria is this? For how long? How long is this going to be?
Yeah.
Going for?
And it took everybody, really. When everyone came together, it was the whistle. Again, we have another sound element, and the sound becomes the thing that tips people off to who it is.
Kennen Sie das? So einen Ballon hast du doch der kleinen Elsie Beckmann geschenkt. So einen Ballon.
The blind man recognizes the whistle. He recognizes the voice and sends someone off to go follow him. And then that guy marks who they think is the killer with the M. And then then the criminals all come together and find him later. Yeah, it becomes just a group effort. It takes a village style to come around and kill this guy, or not kill him, to come around and find this guy. And then at the end, when we have this like shoddy courtroom set up where we kind of just know they just want to kill him.
Oh, yeah.
That becomes scary too. You never know when it's going to like pop off and they are going to tear him apart. In that moment too, we get another just great performance by the killer.
Und mit mir rennen die Gespenster und Müttern und Kindern. Die gehen nie mehr weg. Die sind immer da. Immer. 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 Nur nicht tue, wenn ich dann weiß ich von nichts mehr.
And like, I'm going back and forth in my emotion too, of just like, yeah, no justice for this fucking man who killed 7 children.
Kill this guy.
And then at the same time, it's like, okay, you have over 100 people there that want to rip him apart. And everybody is saying, yes, let's kill him. Like, they're trying to make it just. He has a lawyer.
Ich an Ihrer Stelle würde hier nicht so dicke Töne riskieren, Herr. Es geht hier um Ihren Kopf, falls Sie das noch nicht kapiert haben sollten.
He was already prosecuted and sentenced before they ever caught him.
Yeah.
He was already dead meat, you know? And I guess fortunately the police bust in right at the end. And he does, I think, get arrested? Go to court?
Yeah.
That's the implication?
And then we go back to Elsie, the last girl that got missing, and that's when we get the delivery of.
Davon werden unsere Kinder auch nicht wieder lebendig.
Yeah, everything else was very scary, but it's like, who's gonna protect our children, or we gotta protect our children.
And her performance of just that line too was like, oh my God. It was heavy. It was heavy to leave the movie. That was the last shot of the movie, and we have a crying mother literally looking into the camera at us as the audience. It's not like to other people. It's like that's them telling us, you got to keep an eye on your children.
And it's like, okay, how the hell am I going to keep an eye when I, A, have to send them to school, and B, the government is not doing anything about these gun shootings?
Well, that's what I'm saying is like the themes that are going on in this film.
Like they're supposed to be safe in a fucking school. They're learning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no longer safe.
Nowhere feels safe anymore.
It's so bleak.
Well, let's get to the ride. This bleak ride, pulling out.
Making me
One thing
sick.
that was bringing a smile to my face throughout this were all the hilarious ways to smoke.
I was gonna bring that up.
Holy shit, there was a lot of different devices.
There was one scene in where all the men sat down and that's all they did.
It was like everyone had like 3 going at once. The whole room was just full of smoke. Cool shots with the smoke, but damn.
It was nothing but smoke. It was so funny.
Yeah, there was like one scene where they were like going around to each dude, and like one guy had a huge ass pipe, one guy had a little cigarette, one guy had a huge cigar, one guy had a cigar that was attached to this little thing that was like, it was crazy.
And then there was one of the homeless person who had all the buds that and cigars that he has collected.
Mm-hmm. He was enjoying the leftovers of some people's cigars.
And he was gonna take the longest cigar, but he couldn't even enjoy that because of the circumstances that were going on.
Mm-hmm.
He was just like, ah.
But man, their smoking game was on in this movie.
Oh yeah,
on in this movie.
As soon as they finished one, they went to the other one. Yeah. No, the last time that I was smoking a cigar was in Christmas with my dad. Oh shit, I don't want to say this. Okay, well, I threw up.
Yeah.
Because it was just a lot. It was a big one. And my dad was like, yeah, this was expensive. And I just took a few drags and it was a lot. So that's what I was imagining, all these men in their cigars and smoke. Oh, God.
Yeah. No, thank you.
No.
I wrote down, was it an unsatisfying ending? And I think that in some ways, yeah, but in the ways that I think that they wanted it to be, it's not supposed to be left with like a buttoned up, we got the guy, everything's going to be okay.
No.
It's really left to make you feel
there's no justice, really.
Yeah.
There's no justice because the children are dead, and yeah, we catch one, but then another one will aspire.
Yeah. I mean, another one will pop up. There's
and,
another one already out there.
It sucks. It's bleak. And I thought that it ended well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Questioning us. I love that.
Me too.
I love it.
Me too. M.
1931.
My goodness.
A
classic on the podcast.
Oh,
I love it. Let's get to these smashed pumpkins.
Oh my God, I keep forgetting about these log lines.
So far, I'm liking the ones that are coming off the cuff.
Oh my God, they're dumb.
I didn't say that, but I did not say that. That doesn't mean I enjoy them less, but I'll go first. You can think on your log line.
Yes.
I'll go first for M. Here it is. It's you. No, it's you. Who is it? Kids are dropping like flies, and it's going to take the cops, criminals and average Joes to catch the killer. Look for the M and listen for the whistling. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. I gave M a 3.5. And my creepiest kitty was our serial killer looking in the reflection of the store at that kid. He was really, I think he like came his pants. Quite honestly. It was really creepy.
It was gross. It was gross.
Oof.
All right.
Let's hear it.
Our killer is not wearing an A. It's an M on the back of his jacket. And he is not walking a dog. He is walking a child to go home. That's it.
Bad home.
And I'm going to give this movie also a 3.5. And the kitty, I'm not just copying you. That was very creepy. We saw the emotions go through his face. And at one point he licked his lips. To me, I think he was savoring the killing. And that to me was very... just everything about that scene just made my stomach hurt.
As we call it, a creepy kitty.
Creepy kitty.
Creepy kitty.
A creepy kitty.
Yeah, but well acted. M. Wow. Put that one to bed.
Yeah.
M. All right. Thank you, Germany. Well, I guess that's it. We're going to leave you on look out for your children. Look out for your children.
Look out for your children, please.
But also, while you're looking out for your children, check out Playground Social, the studio that we're recording this at. And also, you can check us out at the Deadlights Pod.
Yeah. And you can check me out on Instagram at Color Me Leslie.
And me at Beep Beep Richie T. But until next time,
let's get spooky. Ooh. Watch out for your children. It's you. 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 It's you.